The author of this book, the spiritual man, the author of this book, the spiritual man. The title of the book, the author of this book is Watchman Nee. The title of the book, the spiritual man. We are in great part 3. We are in chapter 2 of this great part 3. Chapter 2, the experience of soulish believers. Chapter 2, the experience of soulish believer, subpart 2. Unlike spiritual Christian, who seek not so much the explanation as the experience of being one with God, these believers look diligently for an understanding in their mind. They like to argue and to reason. Failure of their life experience to catch up with their idea is not what worries them. It is their inability to understand this lack of spiritual experience which troubles them. They conjecture that knowing mentally is possessing experimentally. This is a tremendous deception. Most soulish believers assume an attitude of self-righteousness. Thought often it is scarcely detectable. They hold tenaciously to their minute opinion. It is doubtless correct to hold fast the basic and essential doctrine of the Bible, but certainly we can afford to grant other latitude 1 million point. We may have the conviction that what we believe is absolutely right, yet for us to swallow a kernel but also to strain out a nut is not to all pleasing to the Lord. We ought to lay aside the small differences and pursue the common objective. At times, the mind of soulish Christian is assaulted by the evil spirit. Hence, their thinking becomes confused, mixed, and sometimes defied. In their conversation, they frequently answer what is not asked. Their mind runs wide. They shift their topic of discussion ever so often, proving how scattered are their thoughts. Even when they pray and read the Bible, their mind wanders far away. Although these Christians usually act without so much as exercising a single thought about it beforehand, they can tell others how they always act on principle and how carefully they consider every action, even setting some analogous incident from their life to corroborate their claim. Aptly enough, they occasionally do take an action after thinking twice or even 10 times. Their actions are truly unpredictable. Carnal believers are moved easily. On one occasion, they may be extremely excited and happy. On another occasion, very disappointed and sad. In the happy moment, they judge the world too small to contain them, and so they soar on wings to the heavens. But in the moment of sadness, they conclude that the world has had enough of them and will be glad to be rid of them. There are times of excitement when their heart has stirred a fire were burning within, or a treasure had suddenly been found. Equally, as the time of depression when the heart is not so stirred but rather give way to a feeling of loss, making them most dejected. Their joy and their sorrow alike turn largely upon feelings. upon feeling. Their lives are susceptible to constant change, for they are governed by their emotion. Oversensitivity is another trait which generally mark soulish. Very difficult are they to live with because they interpret every move around them as aimed at them. When neglected, they become angry. When they suspect changing attitude toward them, they are hurt. They easily become intimate with people, for they literally thrive on such affection. They exhibit the sentiment of inseparability. A slight change in such a relationship will give their soul inimitable pain. And thus these people are deceived into thinking they are suffering for the Lord. God is cognizant of the wickedness of the soulish when they make self their center and consider themselves special upon achieving a little progress in the spiritual realm. He accords them special gifts and supernatural experiences which enable them to enjoy time of such overwhelming bliss, and well as time of such closeness to the Lord as thought actually to have seen and touched him. But he used this special grace to humble them and bring them to the God of all grace. Unfortunately, believers do not follow God's intent. Rather than glorifying God and drawing closer to him, they grasp God's grace for their own boasting. They now regard themselves stronger than others, for they vividly imagine who can be more spiritual than those who have had such encounter. Moreover, soulish believers have numerous sentimental experiences which induce them to deem themselves more spiritual, not realizing these are but evidence of their being carnal, not by feeling but by faith to the spiritual life. Oftentimes, a carnal Christian is troubled by outside matters. Person of affair or things in the world around readily involve his inward man and disturb his peace in his spirit. Place a soulish one in a joyful surrounding and joyful he will be. Put him in a sorrowful environment and sorrowful will he be. He lack creative power. Instead, he take on the complexion peculiar to that with which or whom he may be associated. Those who are soulish usually thrive on sensation. The Lord afford them to sense of his presence before they attempt spirituality. They treat such a sensation as their supreme joy. When granted such a feeling, they picture themselves as making huge strides toward the peak of spiritual maturity. Yet the Lord alternately bestowed and will draw this touch that he might gradually train them to be weaned from sensation and walk by faith. These do not understand the way of the Lord, however, and conclude that their spiritual condition is highest when they can feel the Lord's presence and lowest when they fall to do so. Carnal believers bear a common stamp. Talkativeness. Few should be their words. They knew, but they are glutted into endless discussion by the excited emotion. They lack self-control in speech. Once their mouth is open, their mind seems to lose all control. What pour forth like an avalanche, like an avalanche. Now the soulish Christian realized he should not be long-winded, but somehow he is unable to withdraw once the conversation gains momentum. Then thought of all kinds swiftly unveil the conversation, precipitating continual swift in topic and an unfailing replenishment in word. And when words are many, transgression is not lacking, says Proverbs chapter 10, verse 19. For the result will be either the loss of control through much speaking, the loss of peace through argument, or even the loss of love through criticism, because secretly and hypocritically they will judge others who are loquacious and deem it must in becoming in them. Fully aware that flippancy does not become the sin, the carnal person still loves to talk frivolously and hanker to speak and to hear coarse jest. Or he may go in for vivacious and gay conversation which he simply cannot afford to miss, no matter what. Although at times he does abhor such impious or unprofitable talk, he is not for long, for when the emotion is stirred once again, he automatically returns to his favorite all pastime. Soulish believer also indulge in the lust of the eyes. What often governs their attitude is the particular artistic or atheistic view momentarily current in the world. They have not yet assumed a dead attitude to human artistic concept. Instead, they pride themselves on possessing the inside of an artist. Now, should they not be ardent admirer of art, they may swing to the other extreme of being indifferent to beauty altogether. These will clothe themselves in rag as a token of their suffering with the Lord. The intellectual among those who live by the soul tend to view themselves as bohemian. On a windy morning or a monthly night, for example, they are apt to be found pouring out their soul in sentimental songs. They frequently bemoan their life, shedding many tears or self-pity. These individuals love literature and are simply ravished by its beauty. They also enjoy hymning a few lyric poems, for this gives them a transcendent feeling. They visit mountain, lake, and stream since these bring them closer to nature. Upon seeing the declining course of this world, they begin to entertain thought of leading a detached existence. How ascendant, how pure they are, not like other believers who seem to be so materialistic, so pedestrian, so enmeshed. These Christians deem themselves more spiritual, not recognizing how incredibly soulish they actually are. Such carnality presents the greatest obstacle to their entering in holy spiritual realm because they are governed so completely by their emotion. Of greatest hazard to them are an inawareness of their dangerous position and in utter self-content.